Hey you guys, I decided to make a video pretty much kind of making up for the missing parts, the stuff I didn't really talk about / forgot in the previous video, which I should have touched upon. So yeah, this is technically part 3. So essentially, we have Floki. One part that I mentioned was that we have Floki outside during the whole feasting, whatever. You have Rollo come outside, telling Floki why isn't he participating, whatever. Watching the fight between, the Viking and the Wessex guy. Floki's like, I have more important things. One, I'm talking to the gods. I feel as though at some point we're going to have to choose between the gods and Ragnar. And Rollo's like, well, it will never get that way. It will never get to that point with me. And Floki's like, just does, you know what I mean? Because technically Rollo already betrayed the gods by becoming baptized as a Christian. The next scene you have Rollo speaking to Lagertha about, I heard you left Calf in charge of Hedeby, your earldom. He said, I want to trust him because all men are ambitious, and Lagertha's like, not Calf. Which is kind of weird, because you would think after all Lagertha's experiences, especially in her life, she would not trust anyone with that type of power. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. I won't trust anyone, to be left in a position of power, especially when I'm gone. We have pretty much Ragnar and Egbert having a conversation about what makes a good man, if they're good men, or, if they're corrupt. You have Ragnar saying to Egbert, listen, I already know what your plan is. You only, pretty much, even though you're giving Queen Kay and her brother joint rulership of Mercia, pretty much you're the one bestowing the crown, therefore you are the one that holds the power. And you want to have some type of Wessex power in Mercia, further increasing your own power and your own influence and all stuff, and influencing and improving your gains, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. So Egbert's like, yeah, pretty much, his little sly smile. He's like, listen, man, he said, I did what you want me to do. You helped me, you helped me with, securing the Mercian throne and Queen Kay and her brother, and remember, I did your Viking settlement, remember? And I can remember that was the first thing we discussed. And Ryan's like, oh, yes, I remember. That awkward little spring bath type shit. So, yeah. What else? So, yeah. So, we have Ragnar saying, so, are you a good man? And Egbert's like, I think so. You know what I mean? He said, are you? And Ragnar's like, yes. And then he actually thinks about it. And then he's like, I think. And then he asks Egbert, Egbert's like, he asks Egbert, are you corrupt? Egbert's like, oh yes. And then Ragnar's like, and then he asks Ragnar. Ragnar's like, yeah, And they both smile, and shake their heads, and they watch, the party goes, the party go on. Egbert's like, you know what? We understand each other so well, and that's why we will always remain allies and together. So after that, after that, we pretty much, we have the last thing I have to mention is pretty much Bjorn's girlfriend / fiance / baby mama. We see her in a room. She's being tended to by the monks. Bjorn comes in. We see how badly injured her face is, and it's like a really deep gash. Like first at the bridge of her nose, and then goes like right. All right over here. And Bjorn is kind of like in shock because it's a really nasty wound. Whatever, anyone would be in shock if they just see it up close. Whatever, especially we got the eye completely shut and swollen. So the girl's like, oh, what? So you're quiet now, Bjorn? I'm ugly, I guess, now. You wouldn't want to marry me. And then Bjorn's like, that's not true. You know what I mean? So he kisses her, whatever. You see him kind of just like grinding his teeth a bit. He's not angry at her being apparently deformed, whatever. I think he's just angry at the fact that someone he cares about, the love of his life, at least right now, got hurt and injured that badly. So yeah, the last thing I have to mention is that Queen Kay pretty much killed her brother. She killed him. She poisoned him. So connected Ragnar said her brother was weak and he's going to drag her down with her if she don't do something about it. And the second thing that served the purpose of that is letting King Egbert and Ayla know, and to a lesser extent Ragnar know, that she is no weakling. She will not roll over, and that this is her throne. This is her kingdom. She ain't no bitch. You know what I mean? So after that, you have everyone pretty much say, all hail Queen Kay, and they all simultaneously just pour out their drinks, not trying to get poisoned like the poor lad did. So yeah, thank you for watching part 3 of this review. Sorry about not making part 2, but yeah, I had to do this. So yeah. I'll have my review for episode 5 in a jiffy. Adios.